My preference is just I'm gonna have a good time no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't have a preference to like the kind of thing that's happening.
And I think that makes you weird.
Yeah.
Hey man, do you want a strawberry smoothie or do you want to eat a pound of chocolate?
Yeah,
and it's like, as long as it's at a table, like I don't care. You put food on the table.
It's happened many times with food where we have conversations about like where we want to eat. Where it's like, hey, what do you feel like, burgers or ramen? I will have a blast with either. If I want a burger now, or
I can't tell if it's like all food is just your favorite food.
All of it's good.
Of course, all of it's good.
Yeah.
Having zero preference or the ability to make a choice or state a preference seems strange to me.
What's your preference?
Between ramen or a burger? Right now, ramen.
No, I'm saying, well, sure.
I intentionally misunderstood you.
Honestly, if you were to tell me right now, ramen or a burger, I'm good with either. Either is a good option.
Either is a good option. I would enjoy a burger right now.
Yeah.
One of them does sound better. Welcome to Take the Damage podcast by Unfortunate Ones. I'm Sov.
I'm Nix.
And we don't have
a gray thorn.
Gray. Sad, sad, sad. Today's topic is us as players.
Yeah.
Just a very general us as players. We wanted to do this because we know that Gray, not being able to be here today, does have a preference towards GMing, whereas I land somewhere in between, and I think Nix, you prefer being a player.
Yeah, my preference lies in being a player. Just part of that comes from like, I know that you as a DM, I get to have a lot of like experimentation with like the mechanics and certain builds of systems, like because you make NPCs and you make the things that people fight against. But usually in the context of a DM, like if I have like a bandit that I make, and I throw that against my players, usually the stat block is very limited. It's like you have like one attack, one thing you can do, maybe an extra bonus thing, and it's not really like a player build.
Yeah,
it is a monster build. It is limited in what it does and doesn't do. There's not a lot of choice there. So like as a player, I love being able to explore like the choices of what a build can be.
Yeah.
So like just me as a player, that's where I think that's part of my lean towards being a player is I'd like to just explore that mechanical nature, the like building blocks nature of a lot of like TTRPGs.
I think I actually don't care about that much because it's often a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's less mechanical as a player. I really enjoy getting deep into the character.
Oh, I do too. It's just I think it's one like as far as like playing a character and exploring their lore and exploring like the richness of the character. Yeah, nothing really beats drilling down on one character as a player. Or like you are just exploring this one person, but like as a DM, I get to have a lot more fun, I think, in that space, because like I'm thinking of even characters I'm building for like our kobold buddy cop thing.
It's different though. It's different because you have so much more control over the situation when you're a DM that like I don't know. I think like one, you build characters that are meant to die.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you build so many characters and improv so many characters that they often aren't very fleshed out. And then as they develop, like as your campaign, as your table starts to interact with them more, yeah, it's really interesting. You get to develop these deeper stories and whatnot. When you're a player, not only are you constantly diving real deep into the depths of that character, but also you have no control over the situation and you have to try to control the situation through your role playing. And through your roles, which is high variance,
Sure.
So like, it's so much harder to cultivate a story while playing while playing a character,
sure,
rather than playing a bunch of NPCs. And it's also longevity. You are day in, day out this character.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you that there is a level of finding out, like the exploration part about playing a character, about like being the player of one character for a long form campaign, even a mini campaign, or even a one shot, where like there have been many times where I have a version of what this character is going to be. Like I approach the table and I'm like, this character, kind of gruff voice.
Yeah.
They've had this kind of experience. You know, when these kind of things happen, like I might not even write this down. I just kind of have it floating into my head that like the character's going to be this way.
Sure.
And then as soon as I get confronted with a scenario where I get like hit by some event happening, all of a sudden my character, I just make decisions.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this kind of, I didn't really write this out necessarily, or it starts to collide a little bit with what I thought beforehand of this character, but like, well, now this is the character. Now this is who this person is.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, actually, I like this. I like this exploration of what this guy is. Let me kind of dive a little deeper into what this means. And like,
I think that's a big thing about like when I write characters is that I want them to be adaptable as I move forward for those very reasons, rather than contradicting things. So I think for the most part, I prefer to write personality and maybe loose background things that are open to changing. If I ever say it out loud, it's a fact. It's canon.
Sure, you say it at the table.
Yeah, if I say something at the table, it is canon, period. But I generally keep it kind of loose, and I like to do that. I think there's much more of an importance on the personality of your character and having that a bit more settled before you come to the table. Because that's like, you could put yourself in the mindset of like how they respond to things, how they would react into situations. Oftentimes when I'm making a character, that is what I think about. Is like, well, what if they were in this type of scenario? What if they were in this type of scenario? What type of decisions would they make? How would they hold themselves and things like that? And then like, yeah, the story will happen as it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, if someone asks me a question about my backstory, which players don't ever fucking do, no one cares about anybody but their own character. Then I would just make something up that fits with the personality. Or if I don't want to make something up, if something feels fitting from the loose things that I did write, then I would just say one of those things. But I think it's much more important to nail down your like personality and how you would act in this situation. And then even then, leave room for arcing.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm trying to think of like characters I've played. I mean, again, I'm not trying to suggest I'm even all that talented when it comes to like improving or acting as a particular character. Almost all of my characters are just various shades of myself. They're just like various exaggerations or mutings of different aspects of my personality.
Sure.
Just because it's sometimes it can get difficult to like completely without very consciously acting in a like subversive way to who I am. Because I definitely tried playing characters like that where like, oh, I want this character to be very different than who I am, but I have to make sure it is a constant thing of like, oh yeah, this character is this kind of way, versus like a lot of the times, a lot of my characters were just allowing it to just be kind of like an exaggerated piece of my personality. Yeah. So that I could kind of lean into that, and it's a little easier to kind of flow into that. Sure. Like the freeform nature of a lot of like, you know, art, like the role playing aspect at the table.
I don't think I really do that, me personally. Yeah. Like I think of like, almost like I hear what the story is about. If you were to describe, I don't know, an anime that I've never heard before, right? And then describe me the world and the setting and all of that stuff, which would be the question in session 0. Like, where are we playing? What is this campaign? Sure. And then I just think of like what sounds like a cool cartoon character to be in that.
I mean, I've done something like that. I've done things like that before, where like there are characters I enjoy in various media.
Yeah.
and I will like, oh, I'm gonna behave like that character. The things I do, the decisions I make, personality types are gonna be kind of modeled after this other super famous personality or other personality I'm familiar with. But again, that to me, that's a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
So I am maybe not very actively thinking about it, but it is something that I'm very conscious of when making decisions, when doing things. I was like, oh, what would this character? Okay. It is maybe not all the time, not everything, but like in the session, I'm going to be like, okay, this character, okay, they're going to be like this. Okay, cool.
What would they do in this situation?
Yeah, what would they do in this situation? And we've had moments like that where like, I almost give myself out loud a meta moment at the table.
Yeah,
I go, hey,
I would do this, but I think my character would do that.
Yeah, like, hey, like I need a pause here for a second. Let me think. I got to think what this character will do in this situation.
Yeah, I think people also oftentimes don't realize that that's okay to do.
Yeah,
like when you ask someone a question and be like, "Hold on, I need to think about how my character would respond to this." And it's like, yeah, that's fine. You're not your character, so it's reasonable that you need to put yourself in that headspace.
Oh yeah, I think it's probably one of, at least I would guess, it's one of the things that could potentially cause people to hesitate to play, which is just like, oh, it's you're improvising and acting at a table, and well, I don't want that kind of attention on me, or two, like, oh, I don't think that fast, and like I don't know if I could play this character in that way. It's like, the thing is, like, for the most part, your whole table is there to have fun.
Yeah.
And everyone's there just to like use their free time to either play with their friends, play with strangers in a fantasy world where everyone's just making shit up all the time.
Oh,
and to give yourself a moment to be like, some crazy shit happened. Your DM decided to fucking flip a table in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God. To just like, hey, quick timeout. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
I need to think about how my character would react in this moment.
All of a sudden this NPC that you've been like traveling along with, and one of them is like romantically involved with, and that's the big bad. And it's like, whoa, I need a moment to think about how my player character would respond to this. I had a thought, which is, I think, one, some of those barriers to entry that you had described, I think it would be fine in those situations. While I much prefer active role playing, I much prefer you just speaking in the voice of your character.
Sure.
And then in description only through physical activity. Like he scowls, or I scowl and look over at Nix. Hey, fuck you, Nix. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like dialogue being said in character, and then action or physical action or whatever being descriptive, or maybe even inner monologue being descriptive. But for someone that fears that type of interaction, I think being descriptive is actually fine. And then the thought that I had that branched off of that, I think you could see who's a douchebag at the table if you played a campaign that was descriptive. Because I think a lot of people that are socially awkward and wanted to play a character, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to flirt with this character in order to get information, and describing it instead of acting it, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I see your intentions. And then you'd have another character where it's like, oh, I'm trying to get a rise out of my fellow player character. And it's like, you are just a douchebag. I'm trying to get like this player character and this player character to like, be at odds with each other. And it's like, now that you're describing it instead of acting it out, leave my table.
Or at least like trying to like let everyone know like the meta information of like your goal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want these two player characters to like each other because I have my own personal goals that I want to do.
Yeah.
And them being friends is going to get in that way. So I kind of want to make sure to start a conversation to get them to start not liking each other.
Yeah. I feel like you could have such an actually genuinely honest and well understood too campaign if you didn't act it out. I feel like it would be actually a cleaner way of playing. It's just not where my love for the game is. I like the acting part a lot.
I think it would be I think it would be such a weird experiment
Yeah.
to do like
Full descriptive.
a full description, but like a meta informative description of intent where like,
Well, it'd have to be a meta. When you do descriptive, it is meta because you're saying like, instead of me being like trying to just otherwise trick the DM by speaking in a charismatic way because I'm a charismatic person. And so I'm making my player character be charismatic in the situation and essentially just trying to get information without rolling, right? That can happen on accident or unbeknownst to people at the table if you act it out well, right?
yeah,
The other side is if I'm super socially awkward and trying to play a charismatic character and I'm trying to act it, it might not read well. If I am being descriptive, then my character within the world is doing exactly what I'm saying it is, but I have to describe it. So like, how do you describe what you otherwise would have acted out? Well, it's like, oh, well, I'm trying to flirt with this character to get information out of them. It's like, okay, well, now you've just fully described it. And yes, that is like meta information kind of, but like,
yeah, I was just
only kind of.
I was only contextualizing it because it's a lot of times people would do something where like they make an attempt at the act out or they
Yeah,
say the phrase
I
and
think
then they
you-
go like, oh, persuasion check.
Yeah. I think you took it like a step further into meta, like when it's like, oh, I'm trying to get these two to not like each other because I have this, blah, 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 blah. But if you were to take it a step back of just like what you would have to do if you were doing descriptive role playing, it would be like, oh, I'm trying to convince Nix that Gray stole something from them.
Sure.
And that's me being descriptive in order to be able to make my persuasion check, right? And I have already shown my cards.
Sure.
Now, there's obviously things to read into it, and you might not know my intent on or my why I'm doing it, but the thing I'm doing is very clear and douchey.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying like I'm just like as a piggybacking off of your idea to be like
To go full meta.
to go full like to fully not even just the description of the thing, but to also lend the intent to be like to have like a fully meta, fully intentional, fully described gameplay of a tabletop game. It's like
Yeah.
it's like I wonder what that would even look like if that would be like just a weird like thing that nobody would want to watch or nobody would want to listen to or nobody would want to play in, because after the first session you'd be like, oh man, this was strange, like this was strange. Or if it's like, that's fascinating, like I don't know what, I have no idea what it would look like it's great, like because you get some of it, like you said, in some games that you play where somebody either narratively describes the thing that they're trying to do, like they're just descriptive, and then it's like, or like the one I said, which is like somebody says something where like they're trying to act out, but they're not, they're not really good at it. And they go, persuasion check. And then the DM sometimes will check. It'd be like, oh, is this deception or persuasion?
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of like, oh, I'm not sure exactly. Are you telling the truth or not?
Yeah.
Without asking straightforward, was this a lie to the player? But as soon as the player says, oh, it's deception, it's like, well, yeah, you're lying. But it's I don't know, that's such a interesting, like, I'd love to see it. It'd be fun to see a table where
Just
like
being overtly meta.
Yeah, just being like crazy overtly meta.
I don't want to see it. I don't like descriptive role. I like actual role playing.
Of course. My preference is people putting on voices and trying to play their character.
Yeah.
Trying to react in a way that is natural to the character they're trying to play.
Yeah. Doing voices, doing accents, your dialogue is your character's dialogue, dressing up,
being emotionally,
taking real world damage when your character takes damage. Just really getting into role play, you know?
I was going to say being emotionally invested in the things your character would be emotionally invested in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like one of the things that I like in terms of like adding that layer to it is like sometimes people are so careless with their HP and
Yeah.
with their companions. Where like sometimes you'll have a companion or you'll have NPC allies, and people will just be willing to like go through a wall of fire holding on to this child they have.
Sure.
And it's like, hey, you realize that kid's going to take a ton of damage. It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, like, that's fine. I need to get over there. And it's like, okay, cool. You cross it. The person, the child you're holding in your right arm is burning and screaming. And you go, well, can I pat them out? It's like, yeah, you pat them out. There's a little damage from patting them out in the flames. They're still alive. It's like, all right, I'm going to keep running to the big bad guy. It's like, okay, you do that.
I was just skating past all emotions.
Yeah. Where it's like I get that this is a game, and like a lot of games, there isn't like you don't have too much emotional attachment to the NPCs or the. Did you roll a dice onto your nuts? I was gonna not say anything about it, but it really got me.
So I'm sitting with my knees up, playing with a die on my knee, a heavy metal die. And because I'm sitting with my knees up, I'm kind of pressed against my pants, if you will. And that's where when I drop my metal die. I don't remember what you had said for the last minute.
It looked like you completely checked out of existence as soon as, because I heard it fall and land, and then I saw every
the
part
landing
of
you heard?
I heard the landing,
full contact.
and I just saw everything leave you in that moment as you just faced off in a direction, like consoling yourself as to what you had just done to yourself.
It's pretty fucking stupid.
We're tangenting off of TTR. I've done it before. No, I had it happen to me. I'm trying to think of, it was my brother where he got a belt. We were like laying down. I forgot. We were just like hanging out in the living room watching something. I think we had like the TV on, and he had a belt in his hand. He was kind of playing with it. And then all of a sudden he like flicks the belt up in the air. And I kind of look at the belt go up in the air. I don't really even think about it. I go right back to the TV, not paying attention. I just like, oh, he did something funny with his belt. He keeps doing it. And the next thing I know, I'm crumpled over in pain because he had flicked the belt so that the buckle and the would land straight on my...
arced it perfectly.
Dude, perfect landing.
Quarter brother.
The thing is where like, if you could anticipate it, there's a little bit of like, you clutch up and you like... You can brace your stomach and everything to kind of be like, oh God. Like,
nah, I think it always just happens.
No, it always hurts. But I'm saying, to me, when it comes out of nowhere, at least in that moment, it's like, oh, that's a whole different level of like, why did I stop paying attention? I should have known this was coming. So there's like almost like a layer of like shame on top, not shame, but like, you didn't do your due diligence.
And that's how it feels when you make a mistake in a TTRPG.
Yeah. Anyways.
And your DM dupes you, and then you get to a situation and you're like, what? That was the big bad the whole time?
Anyways, emotionally investing into your characters.
Is that what we were talking about? I genuinely lost the whole topic when I hit myself.
That's what I was talking about, which is like, I have seen
it blows me away. Yeah, I've seen it. We've seen it at our table, and it blows me away the idea of like people being like, oh, this is my romantic partner in the game, like as part of my backstory. And it's like, cool. You see them die in front of you, and it's like, okay, is the bad guy still here?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my next shot.
Okay, I'll just go looking for them, and then like if I don't find them, then I'll come back and I'll see if I can find any clues or whatnot, and then I'll head to town. And it's like, did you not hear the part where I said like your husband's lying on the floor dead? You know what I mean? Like, what? You have no reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it where like I've had it was like an ally of ours where it was like it wasn't even like potentially like my character's kid. It was like a maybe kid. It was like there's a high possibility that character was my son.
Yeah,
and then like. There are multiple instances in that game where like that person was put into danger.
Yeah.
And my character made irrational decisions to cover ground to defend that
kid,
character, the kid. Cause it's just like, yeah, I mean, as much as you would think, you're going to be calm and collected when dangerous situations are happening, but like, no, people get emotional and people get defensive, and you make bad decisions and poor decisions when bad things happen to people you care about.
There's a character that I want to play, which is essentially inspired by the Hound from the Ark, where he's traveling with Arya.
Yeah.
Where basically it's just like a complete no nonsense. I don't want to say low morality, but low expressed morality. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just pessimistic to the point of doing immoral things.
The world is immoral, so
the world's already fucked. Yeah,
why do you have to be a shining beacon of
you see a dead body and you're like, yep, people die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see. I don't know. You're walking down the street and you see someone getting like, you see bandits hitting a family of orcs that are just, merchants or whatever traveling on the road, and you just keep traveling because it's like, well, people die. And you'll die a lot sooner if you decide to interrupt other people dying. Mm-hmm. Not your business, not your problem. But then deep down, I want the character to like, otherwise in another world would have been a good guy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I kind of want to have like a super low DC in the beginning of the campaign of like every time there's an interaction where there's like an opportunity for honor, roll a check. And like, I mean like super low, like DC 2, he does nothing about it. He doesn't do the honorable thing. But then like, as it progresses, it's every single time I make the roll where I'm like, this feels like an opportunity where he could show that he actually does care. Mm-hmm. Let me make my DC 2 check. No, I got a 5. He's not going to help. And then but every time I make the roll, the DC goes up. So like every time I make the roll, eventually it's like DC 15. So as the story progresses, he gets more and more involved and like, he just won't let things go. You know what I mean?
I wonder if an aspect of the character, like the thing that would be, 'cause I'm trying to think specifically of like the Hound.
Yeah.
If you have a certain set of criteria that like, if even if your DC is very low, if it just so happens to involve these kinds of things, the character is willing to make the more honorable decision, maybe in an immoral way, in an inhonorable way, but still willing to do and does the more honorable decision. And maybe that is the marker that increases the DC, because I'm thinking specifically like the moment with like Sansa, where like, he was a very moral character, but he still made this moral decision in that moment because it was related to, this young girl who was being accosted or potentially going to get hurt. And so he protected her.
Yeah.
So like,
So, it's also like, if I ever failed a check, it doesn't mean I immediately go back to being moral or I become a moral character. The DC still exists. And I would love to do the DC off of something that I have a modifier on.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that like it could even go into like to the point where like I'd have to crit in order to not
do
something honorable. But anyways, there's two ways that I could see that you do that. One, you create a chart of things that your character truly does deep down care about, but otherwise tries to put off this demeanor of not wanting to get involved or not caring. And so it's funny because this would make it a lawful character that just never acts lawful.
Sure.
But have their code, right? Their moral code. And you could have things like, like, I don't know, if an innocent person is being accosted, maybe that's like, you have your base DC, say it's a 1. And then it's like, oh, if someone's getting attacked, if anybody is getting attacked, maybe that's a +1. So now the DC is 2.
Oh, okay,
but if an innocent person's getting attacked, maybe it's a +3. And if it is a child getting attacked, maybe it's a +4. So all of a sudden it's like a DC 5, even in the early game. It's like a DC 5. You know what I mean? And every time I roll, whether I succeed or fail, the base DC goes up. The other way you could do it to have the early parts of the campaign be more immoral or otherwise not following the code as strongly, and then as the campaign evolves, would be have the same chart, the +2, +3, plus whatever, but that doesn't change the DC in the moment. What it does is, say where base DC is 1, right? If I critically fail in the beginning of the campaign, then that's that. But if it hits one of these specific scenarios, because I had to roll for it, and obviously I'm going to succeed, the base DC goes up by 2, or the base DC goes up by 3. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then it's just stuck there. That's the new base.
Yeah.
As the campaign continues. So like, of the things I care about, if those things happen, those horrible things happen, then I become a better person faster. This character that I want to play, also, I really want to attach them to a otherwise squishy player character. I want them to be a kind of sidekick character.
Sure.
Where, for whatever reason, they are like, my thought process is like, let's say you're playing a wizard or a sorcerer or something like that. Just a squishier character in general. And then for whatever reason, my character is begrudgingly like blood oathed to you.
Sure.
Maybe a paladin would be a good one to
Paladin
run this
would
as.
be a bad.
Because I was actually thinking barbarian or fighter, but paladin actually might be cool. Where it's like, oh, my oath is to this other player character, and I just begrudgingly follow them around, and I have to honor my oath. Also, I become weak if I break my oath, and then I just become the bodyguard of this character. And if anybody's ever like rude to the character, I just step up and start swinging my sword. Fucking like the Hound with the chicken scene, where it's just like,
oh yeah.
If you say something bad to my sorcerer, it's like immediately I would want high intimidation, and then like I would just be threatening everybody. Because also a key aspect of that character is like, as a player character, I'm not saying as a player, I get very emotionally attached to my characters, but as a player character, like, he doesn't care very much about, like, he has a strong survival sense, but also death happens.
Sure.
And and it happens for other people, which is why would you get involved with any of it? But also it happens to you. So like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll die today. Are you willing to die today? It's that type of intimidation where like a fucking merchant is like not going to sell you something and is like, hey, you're saying you're not going to sell me this piece of bread because I don't have enough coin? Yeah. I'll die over this piece of bread. Are you? Are you willing to do that? That's the offer. Either you give me the bread or one of us dies over this piece of bread.
Yeah. I mean, I think also like contextually in that chicken scene, it's also like, these guys are doing bad things to this tavern. Yeah. Like the whatever. So you can see that these are really bad people. Yeah. So it's not just anybody that he's being this like crude to. Yes. It is, at least at this point in the show. Yeah. Also, I don't know. Paladin is nice, but I think you either want to have barbarian or maybe some offshoot of fighter. Yeah. Or some variant of fighter, because just saying the opportunity, even though you might not even want to do it, like you have a tendency to nerf your characters, like self-nerf. A paladin has the ability to heal. Yeah. So I don't know if like the idea, playing even more into the idea that like this character is willing to play with death and they don't have a way to get out of death. Like if you have a paladin who can heal themselves, they potentially have a way to get out of death, to be able to like stave off the very edges of death. There is something in the back of their ability that like they could be at 1 HP and they just need to touch their hand to their body and they're back to like 35 HP. And so like there is some playing with death. Well,
I don't think that's actually a huge barrier for this character. Like I said, they do still have a strong survival instinct in the sense that like it's the reason why they're willing to break their own lawful code. Sure. Is because, or their own what they think is moral because they so pessimistically view the world. God, I want to play this character. I think actually Paladin would be just fine because it's like there's still the survival sense. So it's like, also just like eventually finding out, oh my God, I would love to play it at a table that didn't know what I am, if I'm a Paladin or whatever, and just absolutely play them for a very long time as if they're a marshal. And then horrible things happen in the campaign. And then later everybody finds out I had healing hands. And it's like, yeah, but why am I getting involved?
Of course. Yeah. Again, that definitely does play more into like death is part of the world. And like, if you see somebody dying, but healing them is not, at least your character will be able to rationalize with themselves that if I healed this person, they're just going to get in a situation where they're going to die again if I'm not here.
I think with this character, if there's someone that's like dying in the woods, there might be a risk assessment. And if there is genuinely no risk, probably would just heal them. But if there's a character that's like, dying in the woods and might be bait for a trap, and I might even play it as that, even if it's not that, where it's like turning to the party and being like, you don't know who's out here. You don't know why that person's screaming in the woods. Don't you think it's kind of strange? Don't you think it's kind of strange that this person is on the side of the road with their goods and whatnot, saying that they've been attacked? Why didn't anybody take their goods? Clearly, that's bait for a trap.
Sure.
Let's just not take the bait and just walk by and not healing hands for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, but other situations, I think, where like, if you do the risk assessment, like, I don't want to overplay the like, oh, like people die, so I'm just going to kill people or I'm just going to not help people. But it's more like, the idea is more like people die, so I'm not going to risk dying to prevent people from dying.
Sure. I think if I was to, just based off having this conversation, it's like if I was to take a variant off of like trying to make a hound character, I think I would play like, especially in that segment where he's traveling with Arya, where like I would almost probably want to come up with another subclass of fighter or barbarian, like a vengeful oath barbarian or something like that, or like a vengeful oath fighter, because one of the scenes that sticks out to me is that chicken scene.
Yeah,
but also it's the other one where he beats the father with the daughter, and he takes his money and he goes, if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like he's weak.
Oh, I think I would definitely write that. I think I would definitely write if I need something, I will take it.
Yeah.
And I might even try and like walk the line of morality of like walking up to the farmer and being like, I'm going to take your stuff.
Sure.
You can try and fight me. You will be struck down. And if you think that you can fight me, one of us is going to die over your stuff.
Yeah.
And I would try and intimidate them to not have to. And then if the DM is like, I think he's going to try and fight you. This is his livelihood. If he doesn't have this, he will die. This is his medicine or whatever. It's his insulin shot, And then I think I'd be like, oh, that's a good point. Guess I got to roll on my chart again, which means my DC goes up. But hey, I need something. I'm going to try to get it. I'm going to try and intimidate my way out of it and not actually physically harm someone, especially if they're innocent. And that's just me, once again, having to roll to see if I am going to do the honorable thing or not, which most of the time the answer is no. And either way, my morality scale goes positive.
Sure.
Anyways, I'm killing this farmer.
I also like it might not even be at least for me, my take on it would be like, I might not even need to have a custom subclass because it could just be frenzied, because I love the concept, like a frenzied barbarian, because I love the concept of
frenzied barbarian's pretty good. Yeah.
When the hound fights in a lot of the scenes, he's like, ah! Like he like screams as he's doing things. And it's like, oh, the Frenzied Barbarian, I believe, has the thing where if you drop below 0, you can make a check and you're at 1. So, like, you could take what is lethal damage and just fucking grit yourself out of that situation to keep fighting. You get your eyes burned, like squished out of your skull.
Kind of like it as a barbarian.
And then you could just fucking grit your way through it and keep fighting.
Who gets the frenzy?
It's barbarian. I believe it's Frenzied Barbarian. I don't
think frenzy is a subclass. Frenzy is a feature of a subclass, I believe.
Yeah, frenzied, I think. Well, I don't know. I really don't know what the...
God, I forget. It's been so long since I've played a barbarian.
I know, it's crazy.
I think I would play them as like a knight, though. I think everybody at the table would be like, oh, it's a paladin. Oh, it's a... Oh my God, barbarian multi-class paladin.
Oh, Berserker.
Berserker,
I think
Berserker is kind of the perfect subclass for this.
I think Berserker is the one that has the frenzy. Yeah, frenzy. Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a great idea to be like, again, like I said earlier, if there's certain characters in certain TV, movies, animes, or whatever, where you're like, yeah, I want to model my personality of this character, and that's a very conscious decision I make all the time. Which is like, when I'm going to play a character, when I'm going to design a character, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna take this part.
Yeah.
The fucking Hound in his trip with Arya is such a great, because
I want to do it so bad. I think it would be such a fun. I think the idea of having an otherwise evil, what would it be?
Like from the outside in, you know, people would call him a bastard for like how he treats people. And how he treats the world and what he says. Because that's even a big part, is there is a little bit of a difference between what he's saying and what he does.
What alignment would that look like? It looks evil. What is it like
it's not...
What would be the opposite of lawful?
It is. There's a little bit of chaos to it.
I guess chaos? Chaotic evil?
It might be chaotic evil or even... No, because it's not lawful evil. It's not neutral.
I'm talking about appearance.
The appearance of it would be chaotic evil, I think.
I think chaotic evil, but then I think the truth of it would be lawful good. And it's like immediately the arc of the character is to go from chaotic evil to lawful good, because you start off...
I think
you start off with rules, willing to do anything, and then slowly become this character that is bound to these laws, a code.
Sure.
And the code is inherently good. I think you just become...
I think the character progression would be chaotic evil into
lawful good, yeah.
Although the behavior would be more like chaotic good, maybe like at the beginning, or chaotic neutral.
Well, the midpoint of the transition
yeah.
would be chaotic good, I guess.
Yeah. Or like neutral, because you'll do both good and bad things depending on the situation you're in.
Yeah. God, that's even better of a character. You're going from one end of the spectrum of alignment to the other one in a way that mechanically, because you write your code, you write the good guy first. You know what I mean? Like you write your code. You write like, what does a good person care about? What does a good person think? You write that situation down in like a chart. And then in the beginning of the campaign, you only act that way on a critical fail. And that's session 1 of the God, I want to play this so bad. I need to get in a long form campaign.
You know what helped that kind of character progress in their adventure?
Yes, maybe not in their alignment, but in their adventure for sure, is our sponsor for today.
Yeah.
Let's turn to let's roll on the loot table.
Here we go.
Come on, everybody. Let's get hyped.
Let's go and roll.
Yeah.
On the loot table. Let's go and see who our sponsors will be.
Come on. Let's go.
Let's go roll on the loot table.
Today's sponsor is Potion of Level Up, brought to you by XP Juiced.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where You have an ally that has, I don't know, broken a leg, and you need to help carry them to the next town to see a surgeon, to see a cleric, to fix that leg. You go and you try to put your friend on your back, and you realize you can't. Your knees are buckling. You do not have the strength. Well, if you had in your pocket a potion of level up, you can drink that bad boy down, get that extra level of or the extra juice of XP that you need to give yourself a little boost in your strength and be able to huck that ally on your back and make the trip back to town.
Yeah. If you're only moments away from an ASI level up immediately and be able to dump points into wherever you need in order to get that ally home. But it doesn't just work getting you to ASIs. Say you're in the same situation and you need to level up so that you can gain or otherwise change your spells so that you could cast a levitate on your friend and get him up that way. Boom. Drink down a level up, and all of a sudden, your friend is floating their way to good health.
And following the rule of 3, where if you need another example of needing another scenario in which just gaining raw XP, raw organic XP is going to be extraordinarily useful. Let's say you're at a dungeon and you're trying to escape a horde of skeletons that just rose from the dead. And you get to a door and it's locked, and you're fumbling with your lockpicks, and you realize these tumblers are way more complex than you thought they were going to be. Guess what? Chug down that XP level up and give yourself that extra finesse, that extra bit of dexterity you need at the tips of your fingers to make sure that this lock is not only picked, but opened in a flash.
Now, potion of level up is fine. And if you have a little bit more coin, greater potion of level up, even better. But if you're in a pinch where your GM has placed a villain in front of you in the very first act of a campaign, and you know this is going to be the first and last time you see them until the end of the campaign, and you want to confront this big bad, Act 1, but you're just not powerful enough, well, try a superior potion of level up. Get multiple level boosts immediately so you could jump across that table and kill that beautiful, beautiful vampire in Act 1 and make your DM have to tear out pages from their prep book and write a whole new campaign for a more powerful adventurer.
And XP Juiced guarantees that their product is organically certified and is only sourced ethically from hordes of goblins that our warriors are doing their best to ethically terminate these goblins in order to harvest their XP. We do our best, or they do their best, to make sure that everything is done above board. It is board certified. It is organic, and everything. The bottles you get are recycled.
Concerned about hordes of goblins to be slain for XP, diverted into potions, brought to your home for you to level up quickly, living inside poor living conditions, trapped inside cages until the day they are converted into XP? Well, XP Juice doesn't work that way. XP Juice has their guarantee to their customers that their goblins are all free range.
The other great thing about XP Juiced and their wizards, and I don't mean that necessarily as just spellcasters, but they're wizards at the creation of this concoction, is that this will get by any test from any guild of any kind of anti-doping agency. This is a clean, well-sourced, and honestly, it's a miracle. This is an act of divine intervention. The way that they have gotten this XP and how it just immediately translates into the most benefits you will ever see.
Yes. If your DM is concerned that you are leveling up too quickly and potentially fudging things on your character sheet, you can assure them that you worked hard genuinely to earn the money that it costs to get these level ups.
Yeah. Now, go out, try your own, try a taste of XP Juiced potion of level up. They come in great flavors. They have mango kiwi, they have strawberry, and they have blue raz. Great flavors. I also have unflavored for those of you who want to make sure that you're trying your best not to enjoy necessarily this little kick and juice up. I don't know where I went with the end of that.
I was gonna just leave on the end, like after we finished everything. I was just gonna go now in watermelon flavor.
I wanted to do a flavor bit too. So probably much better when we take like 5 or 10 minutes before the show to like kick around the ideas.
Kick around ideas. Well, also a lot better when you have 4 espresso shots right before fucking. Much smoother, you know what I'm saying?
That's a fun. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the art for that. Just be like, I already did a Red Bull parody.
It has to be a syringe.
Oh Christ! If it's a syringe.
It has to be a potion bottle and a syringe.
Some sort of steroid ad or something, or some sort
and
of.
just the side of a butt. Anyways, as a player, what are things that you appreciate or would otherwise expect from a campaign? Like if you were to join a campaign, what would you be hoping for? I know we talk a lot about in general that we're all at this table very open to things, but we obviously have preferences. Like whenever me or Gray run super gritty, horrible things, you enjoy yourself. But I feel like it doesn't scratch the itch that you're looking for of like
I mean, it's
fantasy heroes.
It's not necessarily like I know I've talked about that before. Where like it isn't where my major enjoyment lies with like super gritty, depressing stories.
But like more so, I mean like more. I don't mean just in terms of genre, but like how much do you enjoy writing a backstory with a DM or your DM addressing your backstory? How much do you enjoy homebrew rules being put on top of a campaign? How much do you enjoy the campaign being cultivated to you versus the campaign just happening and you live within it?
I'm trying to think about like the different things that we're talking about and like what my expectations would be, and even some of the stuff we brought up earlier, which is like the ability to, if you need a moment to kind of analyze the situation and let your thoughts kick around on what your player or what your character would do in this situation. I think part of that, because I was going to bring it up, but we kind of kept moving on in that topic, which is like I have seen or heard about DMs that like even put a timer on something like that, where like if a player is trying to make a decision, where like the DM will like kind of start to hurry the player to make a decision, and it's like there's an extent that is reasonable.
I like that for turns, to be honest.
For combat, yes. But like in terms of big decisions, like some level of pushing the player to make a decision is fine, but like overly pushing, and I'm only getting to this in terms of like the biggest thing I want out of a DM and out of a table and out of even my fellow players is just a lot of good communication. I think that's just the biggest thing, and whatever like that that's a very broad term for like everything that could happen at a TTRPG table, but it's just that communication forward of like stuff we've brought up of like, oh, what is the kind of story that the DM is willing to tell?
Sure.
Like what kind of creatures are in the world? What am I allowed to bring into the table of like, what, like I want to bring this kind of character. I want to bring this hound like character. And like, there is a level of like the ability to have that communication where like something crazy happens. My DM has done something. I need a pause, and I need to be able to talk to my DM and tell them like, hey, I need a moment.
Yeah.
And to be like, to me, that's part of communication is letting like a DM who's responsive enough to players and people that are like, you got to express certain things. And sometimes that stuff needs to happen above the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I really appreciate in my DMs. like when I play a game, is like being able to have that, because I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of other tables, but I've only heard horror stories. I've read the Reddit articles about like somebody's
honestly,
bad experiences with the DM, and like just none of that being an option.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of what we do is home table stuff, and I will say, the only bad experiences that I think I've had with DMs that are otherwise strangers to me, is not to do with the DM themselves. Rather, I think for me, if I was to talk about expectations, because I actually think, like, not to cop out, I will talk about things that I would expect or want from a DM and from a campaign, and because I obviously do have preferences, but I think my biggest one would be communication and openness to like talking about and cultivating a story together amongst the players. I think my biggest expectations come from players.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that frustrates me the most is bad player behavior. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a DM, but even as a player, where it's like, if we're doing something serious and then a player just decides to be goofy and like try and steal attention, sure. That I think that frustrates me. If a player tries to, like, I don't mind players splitting the party, but if they split the party and then want like extreme amounts of attention from the DM while they're off doing something else, that bothers me. If they completely disregard my character, it bothers, or other characters at the table. It's not even just when it's directed at me, but like, if you're trying to like do something where you're like trying to talk someone down, you know what I mean? There's a hostile situation, but this is an otherwise neutral NPC, and you're like, whoa, look, we don't got to go down this road.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to do that, and you're the one who initiated, and this other character was just in the corner eating or whatever. And then they come in and just make it hostile. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah. I think that, and then, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, when you presented the question, it was like,
I asked a lot of questions about DMs.
Yeah.
It was the first thing that came to mind. And then as you were talking, I was like, actually, I think most of my expectations in order for me to have fun are on other players.
Yes. I agree. The thing I said about DMs in terms of communication is, of course, it is what I want. But for the most part, the people who have taken the leap to become a DM, to become the DM for your table, there's a lot, for the most part, there's a lot of good-natured intention. There's a lot of like, I just want to do this part where I present a story to a table and we have this fun with each other because were inspired by Critical Role or Brendan Lee Mulligan or
even
Dungeon Daddies or so, they're inspired by some form of media where they're like, I want to bring this to my group. I want to bring this to a group and I want to have this fun.
Even as harsh as Gray talks about as being a DM, I mean, mostly he talks about it for comical purposes, but even as harsh as he talks about being, like when playing in Gray's campaigns, like he is very good-natured to his players.
Yeah.
Very much.
He's willing to play with certain aspects of what the game is.
Yeah. Oh, he's absolutely the type of DM that goes like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. And it's also like, if something crazy happens, if something brutal happens to, the opportunity for a brutal thing to happen to a player presents itself, he's not going to shy away from it. And that's a good thing about how he plays and the kind of DM that he plays. But beyond all that, I 100% agree with you that the majority of my lived experience of a player, of like the things, the expectations I have as a player, the things that ruin it, or the not ruin it, but
also the things that make it good.
But the things that present itself as like the negatives are from other players usually, and then also I would say the positive, like when you do something in a game when we're playing a game together and you turn to my character and ask me a question, that's immediately
a good feeling.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or if you check on my character, you know, like in a funny way, the character we were talking about earlier, but if you like turn to my character and like were concerned about the way my character was going to act in the situation, I mean, that's not ideal, but as long as we both understand the character before we start playing, again, communication.
Sure.
Before the game even starts. And then as the character starts arcing, if your character noticed the arcing or something like that's immediately a good feel. Or planning sessions, I think, is immediately a good feel. I think the good feelings also strongly come from other players. I think just in general,
the most extremes come from.
Well, it's where most of my expectations would lie. I think I oftentimes have very little expectations of DMs. We've had people experiment with DMing with us.
Yeah.
And like, I think it was fine. It didn't bother me at all. Did they do weird stuff? Sometimes. When we were playing one of our campaigns and they hopped in to try a DMing and they took liberties, did it bother us? Yeah, sometimes. And like, even sometimes when we did want to bring it up where it's like, hey, just so you know, this was actually already canonized, blah, blah, blah. But we did it after the game and we just took whatever they were saying in the moment as like, yep, the Realm Watcher's conduit has an alarm.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's going beep, 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 beep before it explodes. And it's like, well, after the game, like in the moment, we were just like, oh shit, it's going to explode. You know what I mean? Like we gave them the liberty. So like, I think there's a lot of leniency that I'm willing to give to a DM.
Sure.
And then also a lot of like, also if players are held responsible and your table's being responsible and your DM is like not necessarily amazing at laying out hooks or not necessarily amazing at telling a really deep story, all of those things can be overcome, in my opinion, if you could bounce off your fellow players. You know what I mean? And your fellow players also hold the same responsibility of like, hey, your DM's trying to tell a story. Maybe they're not good at it, but they're trying. I mean, so just play into their story.
That's part of the like collaborative storytelling aspect of the game, which is like if the DM is struggling a little bit to like, I mean, that's one of the things we talked where I talked about like my own reservations of having like of recording the buddy cop a game that we're gonna have, but like I have full confidence that like even if aspects of something I do are coming off weak or aren't the best, aren't translating the best, I have full confidence that you and Gray are gonna be able to kind of help lift that thing to be better than than what I could have expected it to be, or what I even would be. My initial thought on my draft of what I'm planning it to be. It's because I know I have good writers with me. I have good storytellers with me. So like I know that like that's part of like the DM thing, which is like your players are gonna help you build a better story.
Yeah,
that's part of the role that we play with each other. Is you're gonna give me a piece as a DM. You're gonna give me this moment, a potential emotional moment, or potential this moment of reaction, and me as a player, I might do something you would have never expected. Still falls in line. And all of a sudden, I'm adding this new layer of either emotional depth or this like, as a DM, you're like, oh, I didn't expect that angle. Would that work? And as a DM, you're thinking about like, no, they wouldn't see that coming. Like, yeah, you fucking got this, dude. And so when that person starts doing this thing, you're like, they're getting it. And then all of a sudden, everyone at the table, when it's successful, is like, dude, what? Oh, that's crazy. Or if it's the emotional moment, people on the table are either very happy or sad or like, oh, fuck, man, that's crazy. Again, it's that blossoming of that collaborative storytelling, how much we can lift and pull and everything.
Well, talking about like lending things to your DM as well, like if something did fall flat, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that I've had people ask me, where maybe I wasn't describing things well, or I've just seen them ask other people as well, is like asking the DM like, hey, is this guy coming off as like evil to me? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh no. Like let's say it really, really, really wasn't supposed to be. I'm like, no, I think that's just his voice. Like that's just how he sounds, you know? And like you don't even make an insight check, and then the players are like, okay, cool. And then they just move on. Or if they are supposed to be evil and the player's asking them, like, make me an insight check. But like that, I think that's a good question that players can ask to when you're not sure about something as a player. Oh, I'll go more broad. Like if the players are trying to do something, I've had I don't know if I've had the situation, but I've seen situations where players have asked the DM when they're like, hey, do I get the sense that this is part of the mission? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which means to them that they're trying to play into what their DM is giving them. They're just not sure what the DM is giving them.
Yeah.
I feel like me and you need to ask that more of Grace sometimes because he makes his world so alive that we just get lost in the weeds of totally unrelated to the story things. And every once in a while, I think if we went, hey, are we just fucking around? You know, like,
yeah. I think there's again, it's part of that.
Should we not be doing this?
It's part of that like communication thing. Some of that is learned.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is also learned of like particular people. Like some of that is Gray, for instance. We know that we are going to be enticed by Gray's world and his improvisation
Into red herrings.
Yeah, that we run into something and then he's just going to give us something that he thinks is innocuous, and we're going to fall hook, line, and sinker into a bait that doesn't exist, and we're just going to fall into this hole. And like, but we know that from experience of playing with him. So like, some of that's a little hard to do with a new table and strangers. But like there are aspects of it that hopefully you get like a decent circle of people that you get to play with over and over again. Or at least, one or two people. And like you start to learn these different things. Like, one of our buddies who has played super goofy moments with characters, all it needed was just like give him the opportunity to play a serious character. Structure him to be in this serious role. And he can do it.
You talking about Ace?
Yeah, Ace.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, his character was very serious in J&G.
There were aspects where it was like he did.
There were aspects where it came.
Things.
I think he did more hero things that we thought felt silly within the logic of the world.
Sure,
but I don't think he was trying to be silly. I think he was trying to be a badass, which is a little bit different. That seems like more like just making a mistake. But like, yeah, he genuinely tried to hop into the role, and he did have some much more serious. Like, I would say there were moments where clearly he is the type of, or where he comes from sillier campaigns, right?
Yes.
There were moments of just like not being emotionally connected to a scene or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I think he connects to scenes very well when his character is frustrated. It's funny that he attaches very well into serious RP when that is the emotion. But yeah, no, like you said, like he very much enjoys sillier campaigns, plays into them well. Very fun person at the table for that. Generally doesn't do serious roles, but put him in a serious role, and like you could very easily drag it out of him.
Yeah.
And respectful enough to know that that's what we're doing. Yeah. And not try and destroy it.
Yeah.
Good.
I was just saying that to be like, sometimes in some situations you get into something where the DM or the player frustrates you, and it's just like, it's just something that is at that point, either you have the conversation or it's like, it's just that person just needs to like, there's something that has broken down with like what the expectation was and what the player has done. The player's not unwilling or unable. It's just like there's just a little bit of a fallout, and there's a little bit of a mix mash in that moment.
It's funny talking about expectations, because I think genuinely the best thing that a player can do is just not have them. Like, it's I think the players that I have players that or I have had players that have been otherwise like disappointed or upset or frustrated in campaigns where everybody else at the table is like having a great time, and it's because things didn't meet like the things that they wanted to happen. You know what I mean? Their character failed, and it's a feel bad, or they made a mistake, and it's a feel bad, or the story they were trying to accomplish didn't happen, or in the way that they wanted to happen, and it was a feel bad, or the bad guy wasn't this type of bad guy. Like they thought, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're watching like a mystery novel or mystery movie or whatever, and you're trying to figure it out while it's happening. And then if you're like, oh, he's definitely a Frankenstein. That's a Frankenstein right there. I can spot a Frankenstein from a mile away. And then it turns out to be a ghost.
Yeah.
And I've had people try and guess, which is funny because why would you want things to be predictable? But they try and guess what's going on in the story or what people's motives are and whatnot, and then they're wrong, and they're like, oh, I don't know, I think it would have made a lot of sense if it was this, blah, blah, blah. Like, seems kind of weird that it would have been this. And it's like, why have you set such high expectations that when things vary at all, you're disappointed? It's way better to just be like, hey guys, here's my character. Let's roll dice. What you got for us, DM?
Yeah. I think that's like, it's a little bit of what you said earlier, which is you kind of have a shell of a character of like things that you like, personality types, whatever, and you just kind of let the game play.
Yeah.
Let the game play and discover. And
notice the whole character that we spent like 20 minutes talking on and bouncing back and forth on how it would be really cool to play. We didn't talk once about background.
Yeah.
That's how I write characters. Like, not like background.
Well,
We didn't even think about background. We just talked about how like the rules and style of playing the character, and then how to mechanically achieve that through specifically D&D, like what subclass and whatnot, and then the cool scenarios to be in. And not once where we were like, he was born into a village.
In all fairness,
where nobody loved him.
In all fairness to that statement, we were also basing it off a character that has already had all that fleshed out.
Yeah, but not necessarily like this character doesn't need to be, you know, in the Kingsguard or anything like that.
Of course. I'm saying, like, yes, the new character we're designing, we didn't do anything to touch the background. We were just basing off of the personality relating to a character. Yeah. There's no need to worry about, you can flesh that stuff out later of where your character is born.
Oh, in my mind at that point, like, especially if you're going to do what we did, which is we just wrote a character not for a campaign, don't do the background.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to have conflict with your DM. You know what I mean?
You don't know the world setting of what your DM's going to do.
If I know that I'm playing D&D, I know that I could play this character because I could write the entire background to make him make sense within a campaign. And then also, like, even the way I'm talking about playing him, this is, again, talking about expectations. I think if we got together at a table and let's say Ace was going to run us a campaign, and then I sat down with you and Gray, he gave us the campaign, and then I was like, hey guys, I want to play this character. And both of you were like, well, we don't want to play a sorcerer or a wizard or whatever, so you can't do that part of it. It's like, okay, I guess I'll adapt it. And then if you guys were like, hey, we don't want to walk around with a guy who's just completely immoral. We both want to play heroes. And be like, oh, well, I guess this character just doesn't fit into this campaign. Okay, then let me completely pivot and write a character that's appropriate for this campaign. Because I want to play it does not make it appropriate. Just because it fits into the world doesn't make it appropriate. And just because it fits into the table or like the party doesn't make it appropriate. All three of those things have to happen to make it appropriate.
I mean, that also touches on something else where it's, again, it's the some of the extremes of what you experience as a player are come from other players, which is one of those things, which is like, I've seen plenty of players and heard plenty of stories of like players that come to a table, they have a character. Doesn't matter what the world is. Doesn't matter what the rest of the party is.
I don't think that's a problem, as long as you're willing to adapt it to the party.
To me, that's that's the highlight of what you're talking about. Is
the extreme
is the person who's not willing to adapt any of that. Is I agree with you. Yes, adapting, sure, but I'm saying the extreme version of what you're presenting is like somebody who doesn't adapt anything. Yeah, where the two players of the party don't want to ride with somebody who's immoral. But that person who brings in the immoral character anyway. Yeah. And just decide, like, well, this is who I'm playing. And this is just, like, I don't care what setting we're in. Oh, the GM story is Kingsguard.
I think it's honestly it's a checklist, and I think if not the majority, everything on the checklist needs to be checked, which is like, are the players themselves cool with that character? Are the players at the table cool with the character? Is the DM cool with the character? And then, does that character fit in with the party, which is separate than the players being cool with it? Maybe it fits in with the player character party, but the players don't want to have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it makes sense for him to be there, but that sounds unfun. And then also, does it fit into the campaign or otherwise campaign hook and otherwise setting? So does it fit into the campaign, being the fourth thing on the checklist, which sounds similar to is the DM cool with it, not the same thing. And maybe it does fit into the campaign. Maybe it's perfectly logical. But if your DM is like, hey, I really don't want to play with a bard. Like, I find it not fun.
Sure.
Because, like, I don't like bards that do this thing or whatever.
Sure.
Then it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if it fits in because your DM is going to be constantly frustrated trying to figure out how to play around your character. So, like, I think if all four of those things are checked, then it's like, yeah, you have a solid character. And if you have a character that you're walking in with and you can make it check all of those boxes, great.
Of course.
And if you can't, don't play them.
Yeah. I mean, but again, I'm just talking about the extreme bad sides of stuff. But again, what you talked about, those four things. Again, another thing we talked about, just communication.
Oh yeah,
having good communication with your party,
boo,
and your DM, just means that, and being able to like just be adaptive. You know, like yeah, you're gonna be able to play more games, D&D, TTRPGs, and all that stuff. Like, whether you sign up for a service like what Sov does, like the Start Playing Games, or you have a home table, or you
online friends, whatever,
or you play against ChatGPT. You know, like whatever you got, you're gonna play more games. You're gonna be able to explore characters and explore worlds. It's just, this isn't the only time you're gonna be able to do it, and be willing to just have fun with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything more you want to add to this particular episode?
I mean, we didn't talk about at all what our preferences are and what we like in campaigns. We just immediately, our expectations was just, it turned into player responsibility. I feel like a lot of our conversations turned into player responsibility.
We talked a little bit about how we approach things.
Yeah, but it was like, what are your hopes and dreams about future D&D campaigns? The answer? Player responsibility.
I started with like talking about the mechanics of choosing as a player, and then you immediately went into like
choosing as a player.
Like as a player, I choose the mechanics, like the mechanic side of the game. And then immediately you went into the personality side and the.
That was earlier. I'm talking about when we came back from break.
Oh, sure, maybe.
When we came back from break, it was like, what are our expectations as players when we get into things? And it was just 30 minutes of us being like, player responsibility. This is the only thing that matters at the table.
We opened with like, how do you feel about DMs? And then we started to talk about players, and then we started talking about like the responsibility. And it was the second half of this bounced around a little bit. But anyways,
so quick answer then. Quick answer. Like, what would be like an ideal game for you, and what would cultivate an ideal game? So like, genre, level of backstory addressed, level of even like, do you like session zeros where everybody creates the characters together? What would be like the ideal start to finish campaign in a nutshell for you? Full preference. And thank you for listening to Take the Tip. No.
I mean, I think that's where we tangent is just, I don't think I do have, I don't think I could give you like a.
There's nothing to be like, that would be like the perfect game for you.
No, so the thing, my answer to that and where we branched off was just good communication.
Sure.
And that is my honest answer, because I don't really have a preference for like world setting or like interacting with my backstory, or even the need for creating a backstory, or like, are we heroes? Are we villains? Is it all
You have
chaos?
no preferences of those
Is it
things?
freeform? The thing is,
What about like era? What about system?
era system. My only thing with system is familiarity with 5e. But even then, when we did the Dungeon Crawl Classic, I like that game. Whenever
So
I look
high fantasy.
when I look into Pathfinder, I like that game.
Or just fantasy.
Delta Green, I like playing it. I like the I like the
Oh, yeah, but
percentage nature of it.
Would you call Delta Green like if we were
But my only
if Gray was like, hey guys, you want to play Delta? I'm going to start a campaign at the table. Do you want to play Delta Green or Pathfinder?
again, my only thing would be preference. And in terms of that scenario of Delta Green versus Pathfinder, only that would be curious to explore Pathfinder.
What if it was Delta versus D&D?
Again, the familiarity comes there. I have played both.
Okay, so it's not
My
the fantasy part that it's
No. And even then, like Delta Green, like the only thing I push back on Delta Green is usually the stories are sometimes more on the depressing side of stuff.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't. I listen to fucking SCPs. I listen to like
Sure.
that would be if I told a Delta Green story. I'd love to push more into that nature of it, into like a more SCP story.
Yeah, if you were the DM.
If I was the DM or if I was to play. If I was to play, it would be even.
you would want more of the like.
I would want more of that, like
What would you call that? Sci-fi.
like sci-fi sort of, but it's always some of it's like psych horror. Some of it could be like it's more of like where the company involved, the people we play with,
Yeah.
or the they're a bigger organization.
Okay.
That's kind of the more of the vibe I get with SCP is like the organization you're involved with are a little bit more skilled,
Yeah.
and there's almost like
Well, they're an actual organization. Yeah.
yeah. I mean but the thing is like a lot of SCPs, they're not even sure what the fuck you're getting into, and there's a level of like you're a crash test dummy. We don't know what happens when the car hits this wall of mysteriousness. So
Of
we're all
course,
just
but
trying
also
to,
they try and strap you up as much as they can to be able to.
to a degree,
yeah.
depending if you're telling a story where you're a D class, which is an expendable person. That's part of SCP is you're an expendable person,
Yeah.
and we'll just send you to your death.
Yeah. No gear.
Yeah, you're just kind of like you're experimenting with rocks. Are those radioactive? We'll find out when you die. But my preference is just I'm gonna have a good time no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't
Obviously.
I don't have a preference to like the kind of thing that's happening.
And I think that makes you weird. It's also it's impossible to get you to vote on things like, hey man, do you want a strawberry smoothie or do you want to eat a pound of chocolate? And it was like,
votes are good.
as long as it's at a table, you know, like I don't care. You put food on the table.
It's happened many times with food where we have conversations about like where we want to eat. Where it's like, hey, what do you feel like, burgers or ramen? I will have a blast with either. And like, what do you mean? Do you not have a preference? It's like, no, because part of it is like, if I want a burger now, or
I
if
can't tell if
if
it's like all food is just your favorite food, or if you just dislike food to such a high degree that
it's just all of it's good.
Of course, all of it's good.
Yeah,
Having zero preference or the ability to make a choice or state a preference seems strange to me.
what's your preference?
Between ramen or a burger, right now, ramen.
No, I'm saying, well, sure.
I intentionally misunderstood you.
Honestly, if you were to tell me right now, ramen or a burger, I'm good with either. I can have either. I don't really have like either is a good option.
Either is a good option. I would enjoy a burger right now.
Yeah.
One of them does sound better.
But what's your preference?
For TTRPGs?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely something gritty as an overall genre. I think probably I would say fantasy that is more low magic sword and board. I really don't give a fuck. I like fantasy, but I really don't care about magic
Sure.
or like interacting with it.
So
and then gritty and harsh. Like I don't want to be out there fighting, dragons and with like 4-hour combats and all of these
Sure.
crazy features and whatnot. I like lower level stuff better. I do wish we could fight dragons at low levels, like the way that low level accomplishes combat, the way that low level accomplishes the desperate need for RP because you're so squishy. I do wish that would be happening at higher levels. But I would say a fantasy system in a campaign being told by a DM who wants to run it relatively low magic, probably lower level would be my preference. Not low level, but like maybe level 5.
yeah, you're touching on like Lord of the Rings fantasy.
No, not necessarily Lord of the Rings fantasy, but like just lower,
Yeah.
I don't want the campaign to be about finding magical loot.
Sure.
I want it to be, and then like very gritty and extremely story driven. Final question, and then we'll wrap up the session.
Sure.
Okay, it's a Tuesday.
Sure.
It's a Tuesday. And
I don't have a preference.
it's a Tuesday, and you are realizing that you don't have much going on Tuesdays. You
Sure.
want to do something.
Sure.
You check what's going on in the world.
Sure.
Gray and a couple of other of your friends are starting a campaign, and they have an open seat.
Okay.
But then also while checking out what's going on, me, Sov, I'm starting a campaign with a different group of your close friends.
Gray all day.
Yeah, Gray all day. He's got preferences, ladies and gentlemen. He's got preferences. And fine tastes, may I add.
If only for the kobold voice. That's the only thing. Is just so I get some taste of that sweet, sweet kobold voice.
I would also choose Gray, but only because I've never played in a long form campaign with Gray.
Yeah, that's also
That would be actually the deciding factor.
Yeah, that would
to
be
me.
an actual legitimate reason why, if you both spun up things and everybody at the table, I would like both people. I would like
Sure.
all the team.
If there was no other thing to
yeah, if it was just like, oh, I have not played a long form campaign with Gray.
yeah, we've played campaigns with Gray. We've played Westward March. We've played short things.
We've tried to play. We started like a long form thing, but we just never got far in it because of circumstances.
No, it was that was supposed to be.
Well,
Well,
was
I think
supposed
it
to be
was
short?
supposed to be a one shot, but it's Gray, so it was supposed to be a mini campaign.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I would.
But then
love-
everybody else that played fell off.
Yeah.
I mean, we've played loads with them, just nothing terribly long form.
I mean, hopefully in our group, the next big long form thing is his.
Yeah, I don't really want to do. If I had a preference, to be honest, my preference would be to not play long form games. My preference would be to play mini campaigns, but
Sure.
long mini campaigns.
I'm just saying that if we do ever decide to run another long form game,
Sure.
my preference would be for Gray to lead it.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to be able to live in Gray's world for a little bit, like to sit.
But
in
I
his
would love
world.
to live in Gray's world for a little bit. I rather bounce back and forth between mini campaigns, and all of Gray's can be in his world. It wouldn't bother me at all. But yeah, I think I like the idea of just shorter campaigns
Sure.
with an intentional, not an intentional end, but that do end relatively short. So like 1 to 3 month campaign. And then for the same thing you were saying, it's like, you're going to play this game again? Yes. And I want to immediately.
Yeah.
Because my biggest drive for D&D is starting campaigns. It's not even finishing them. But it'd be nice if we could also finish them,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Instead of just...
But I think that's the majority of experiences for a lot of people. It's just
Yeah.
games fizzle out. That's what happens.
Yeah, but instead of them fizzle out, plan short ending. All right. Thank you for listening to Take the Damage podcast by Unfortunate Ones. I'm Sov. You can find me over at startplaying.games if you would like to join one of my campaigns. If there are no seats available in any of my games or just nothing listed, feel free to reach out for a custom game. I'd love to run a custom game for you.
I'm Nix. Like and subscribe to the video. Yeah. I do the art, and I do. I have other art I'm doing, and we're gonna have more art, and there's stuff coming up.
I really liked the one where you were just like, I'm Nix, and I'm here too.
I don't want to burn that out too much, but I'll do that. I'll throw that in.
It was pretty funny.
I kind of want to do like when Gray's here again, like, well, I'm Nix, and that's Gray, and just jump immediately,
be like, I'm Nix, and then just go silent and wait for him to figure it out, and we both just look at him. Gray is not here today, but you can find Gray. He streams games over at
Twitch.Hibara Graythorn.
I think so.
Well,
and
whatever.
YouTube.
The link will be
Links in description.
Yeah, link will be in the description.
Same with mine.
Yeah. Also, all the your name here's and the splash screen now. All that's if you want to go to our website and sign up for the tier to become part of the supporters wall or the end credits after the shield music and the end music.
Give us money.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Kisses.
Bye.